Will you work together? Do you really think you can do it all on your own? Will you survive? The Sleepover!
Welcome to the sleepover. 6 friends are having a sleepover and watching a scary movie with a babysitter when a storm rolls in out of nowhere and knocks out the power for the entire neighborhood. The babysitter goes to the garage to start the generator, but there are missing pieces scattered throughout the house. Just then, the boogeyman comes to life out of the dark. Everyone must gather their items needed for the generator and bring them to the garage so the babysitter can bring the lights back on and banish the boogeyman back to the land of nightmares from where he came. The objective is to bring the generator items to the babysitter in the garage to get the generator running, turn the lights back on, and banish the boogeyman to the land of nightmares. So basically, we shuffle the cards and distribute as evenly as possible among the rooms, excluding the garage and basement. The lock attic and bedroom 2 if there are 2 to 3 players. So you would then lock these two if there are 2 to 3 players. Spread out and look for the generator items using 2 actions per turn. Actions include moving one room, searching the room by drawing a card from the room the player is in, rolling a die when needed, spinning the boogeyman wheel when needed, and dropping off an item to the babysitter. After the first round, spin boogeyman at end of each turn. If the boogeyman lands in the garage, the babysitter loses an item unless the babysitter has a special item flashlight card. If the boogeyman lands in the room with each player when the players are sent to the basement unless they can escape by various means. If all players die or end up in the basement all at the same time, the boogeyman wins. If all generator items are successfully delivered to the babysitter, then the players win. So Sleepover is basically a co-op where you work together to find the items in each room. With each movement, say I move here, I can search the room at bedroom 1. I can then search the room. I got a keeper card, which is throw an item. There are several different keeper cards like throw an item, lightning flashes, extra action, backpack, which allows you to carry 2 items, and the cupcake, which is an immediate item that you can use to gain a life point. You also get boogeyman, which is an instant immediate action, which then sends you to the boogeyman into the room that you're in and sends you into the basement. During your first turn, you can either move and search the room or move twice to get further away from the one area that you may be clustered in. If the boogeyman finds you all in one room, all these players then would go into the basement. If you are all happen to be in the room and you draw a boogeyman card, then you, during your first turn, then you all end up in the basement. So it's always a good idea to spread out. Now, certain cards do certain things. The flashlight card, for instance, allows the babysitter to hold the flashlight and no longer loses an item when the boogeyman comes into the garage. If you're holding this particular item while playing and you haven't put it in the garage yet, you can escape the boogeyman into an adjacent room. But if this card is not in play, and you, for instance, had oil can, fuse, and a battery, and the boogeyman happened to land into the garage, then you would shuffle up the items. The player to your right would then pick the card. And for instance, the battery card, you would discard that. You no longer need it. And you would have an oil can and fuse. Now, the battery card, unfortunately, since it's so heavy, allows only one movement space per turn until it is delivered to the babysitter. So being that it's so heavy, you're only allowed to move once. Now you can, if you have the backpack that allows you to carry more than 2 items, search the room, and hopefully you get either an immediate cupcake card, which is great, gives you an extra life, or something that allows you to carry an extra item. Unfortunately, I have another backpack card. Now, you're only allowed to have 1 keeper card and 1 item card unless it's stated, like in the backpack card. So if you do get another keeper card, for instance, and you had throw an item, then this would then replace that item and is then discarded. The life chits. So, if you are caught in, for instance, bedroom 1, you're then put into the basement and you leave a life chit behind. You can have a max of, I believe, 6 life chits at any given time with the cupcake card. You can earn them, but once your life chits are gone, your turn is over. If you happen to be in another room and your life chits are done, say you're gone, Boogeyman collected you, and you happen to be carrying a couple items, then your friends can come and pick those items up, as long, again, as they don't have items in their hand to prohibit that. These would then replace what they had in hand, should they be a keeper card, or if they had more than 1 item, unless it's stated to have that. So in the beginning of everybody's turn and everybody moving, the Boogeyman only comes into play at that moment. You would spin and find out which room he'd be at. So he would go into the garage, for instance. And since there's no flashlight, he would steal an item. After that, every person, after their turn, would spin the Boogeyman spinner at hand, and he would chase you around the house. Again, the object of the game is to get all the items into the garage and win the game. I hope this explains a quick playthrough of the Sleepover. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. We'll also be announcing when the Kickstarter will be launched. Again, this is Noel from Studio 32. Have a wonderful day.